All right. How are you guys feeling? Good? You ready for this next panel? It's going to be a good one. We're about to bring to the stage one of the industry's most booked and blessed musical directors and musicians, Adam Blackstone.
Yeah.
Yes, on TV, radio, or at a live concert at your favorite stadium, the Adam Blackstone sound has certainly permeated your eardrums. From the Super Bowl to the Oscars, Grammys, and the biggest moments in television, Blackstone is not only a multifaceted bass player, musician, Emmy Award-winning music director, and Grammy Award-winning writer. He is the musical mastermind behind the live shows of many of today's biggest artists. For instance, Justin Timberlake, Rihanna, Janet Jackson, Alicia Keys, Maroon 5, and many, many more. Please help me welcome to the stage ASCAP's friend, Adam Blackstone.
What's up, y'all? What's up, LA? 1, 2, 1, 2. And I just want to make sure that y'all heard Nicole say one of the things that she didn't say is I am a proud ASCAP member as well. And so when my brother Jason Reddick gave me a call and he said, can you do this little thing for me tomorrow? I said, little thing? Sure, yeah, I got you, bro, no problem. I walked in and it wasn't a little thing, it's a big thing. There's a bunch of people here. I hope you know your neighbor. Turn to your neighbor and say, ASCAP. All right, cool. Well, listen, it is great to be here at the ASCAP Experience. We are about to bring up two icons to the stage, y'all. I am so excited about this. Arguably one of the most successful writer-producer teams in modern music history, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are known for their studio magic, creating smooth, funky synth-laid grooves, as well as their signature style. Now, you know what that is, right? The dark sunglasses, the black suits, the hats. He played the synth and the bass. Yeah, you already know. But over the course of their incredible career, I don't know if y'all know, they have also revolutionized the sound of urban and pop radio. For those who don't know, urban and pop these days, that's black and white, you know? Chart toppers such as Janet Jackson, Boyz II Men, Mariah Carey, George Michael, Usher, so many more. They have earned 11 Grammy nominations for Producer of the Year, and they won 9 ASCAP Songwriter of the Year awards. Jeez. And today with myself, they are here to unpack what it takes to maintain a lasting creative partnership and make musical moments that stand the test of time, obviously. Please join me, a rounding applause for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, my mentors, y'all. Make some noise. Y'all can do better than that. Make some noise for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Come on, man, let's get to it.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Lovely now.
Wonderful after all that.
Yeah. So listen, I'm going to go off script a little bit. I did not get your text message. I'm sorry. I'm going to reply to you right after we leave here, I promise.
Okay.
These guys have been, this is with no paper. These guys have been such an instrumental part in my career. Around 2006, I got the call that Janet Jackson was looking for a new musical director and was interested in interviewing me and talking to me. And after we spoke, I was blessed to get the gig, but that was just the beginning. I had to start learning this music, and how I go about preparing the music is to dive into the originals. And there was only 2 people that had the original stuff. So they was like, yeah, just call Jimmy. Call Terry. And I was like, call Jimmy, call Terry. Janet, you said it so easy, like that was a thing. And guess what I did? I called Jimmy, I called Terry, and they have embraced me like I was their nephew, their son, their musical kinship ever since day one. So I just want to say thank you for now almost 20 years of friendship. You guys have been such an inspiration to me. You have let me know what it's like to dream big and to trust God and to not put a box on what this music thing is. I've seen you work with so many different people, black, white, female, male, pop, urban, hip-hop, gospel. It's just so many things that they have shown me that the sky is the limit. So I just want to give you your flowers now and just say thank you before we even start this off, because there's somebody out here that is inspired just like me. I just want to say thank y'all for that, for real.
Thank you, brother.
Of course.
Appreciate that. By the way, in response to that, I'll just say we want to thank you, because when you called us, you were so thorough in your approach in making sure, because the details matter, and you made sure that the details were correct. And so to have Janet out there doing songs, but the way they're supposed to sound, you know, not everybody can do that. Those are tough songs to duplicate. But you did, yeah. But you did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
And so you're not too young to get flowers, so let's give Adam Blackstone his flowers right now.
Yes. Yeah, you get a whole bouquet, not a flower.
A bouquet.
Okay.
A
You get
bouquet.
a whole bouquet.
Oh,
Yes.
man. So you both grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I did part-time.
Part-time. Okay, where's your other part-time?
Well, I actually was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska.
Never knew that.
Yeah, man.
The whitest
See
place
there?
I think I've ever heard in my head, but I don't know.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Okay. Tell us about the hood in Omaha.
Oh, it's there.
Okay.
Did you know Malcolm X was from Omaha?
See, I did know that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, as a teenager, I think I was in what y'all call middle school now, junior high. I moved to Minneapolis. Actually, St. Paul first.
Wow. That's amazing. So not only that, but can you talk about what the music scene was like there, St. Paul or Minneapolis, when you were young? Because you guys, fast forward to today, have just done all genres. So I'm like, what were you all listening to in Minnesota then? And just like, you know, what were the hot bands and the hot styles like just coming up there? I would love to hear about that.
Well, it was really a melting pot of music for us, because I met Terry about a year after he moved to Minneapolis, and I grew up listening to pop music because there was really no black radio up there. There was a sun up to sundown station on the top of the AM dial that if you lived about 5 blocks from the station, you couldn't pick it up. So I didn't really hear black music growing up. So my whole thing was Seals and Crofts and the Carpenters and Chicago and America, and those were the groups. Bread, all the what I call the major seventh groups, for those y'all know, all those pretty harmonies and stuff.
chords.
Yeah, the pretty chords, and that's what I grew up with. And I remember when I met Terry back in 19, and you have to put an and on it because it's so long ago, 1973 when I met Terry. So 54 years ago, I believe. I remember I said to Terry, hey man, I'm gonna go get the new Chicago album. And Terry said, Chicago? What about Tower of Power, Earth, Wind and Fire, New Birth? Yeah. And I'm like going, huh? And he puts on I Can't Understand It, New Birth's version of it. Yeah. And I just lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, right? So Terry was the one that really turned me on to that music. So when we were local bands back in Minneapolis, we played everything. Like, we didn't know there was music we shouldn't play. Absolutely. We didn't know that rock guitar shouldn't go with a funk bottom or all of those things. And Terry was really into P-Funk also. And so Parliament Funkadelic was the perfect. That was the perfect example of really rock and funk coming together. And then, of course, there was the obviously influence of Prince, who Prince had a local band called Grand Central at the time. And, you know, Morris Day was the drummer for that band. Andre Simone was the bass player in that band. I mean, they were a serious band. But we played everything at that point in time. And even growing up, when we played in clubs and stuff, you had to play everything from, we would play a bar mitzvah one day, at the roller rink the next day. We'd play at a, you know, prom, somebody's high school prom the next day. We'd be at the supper club the next day. And every audience wanted something different. And so we would have to learn everything, including polka. Yeah. We could mess with some polka.
Oh,
we
kill that polka.
That's right. That's right. So that was kind of our musical upbringing. But it was very artistic as far as the town was concerned. If you think about the art museums we had, the Guthrie Theater, the Walker Art Center, all those types of things, there was a lot of just creative energy in Minneapolis. And so we took advantage of all of those things growing up, for sure.
And I missed the point to not add church for me at least
sure.
2 to 3 times a week.
We hear it.
So church is in there.
Hell yeah. And so in 1973, did you guys pretty much immediately recognize each other's talents, or did it take a minute to realize that you would be one of the greatest duos of all time?
Wow, that's nice.
And so, like, this is a business question, and then we're gonna have a brother question on how when y'all used to fight and all that kind of stuff. If
No, we never.
Yeah. Well, let me answer the business question.
Yeah.
Man, when I started actually playing music, I didn't choose music. Music chose me. Amen. I was an athlete. You know, as a great student, my ambition was to become a medical doctor. So as I think I was a senior in high school, junior, senior, I got injured in football. So I had all kinds of time left on my hands. And my stepfather had a regular guitar. He had broken the top 2 strings off. So I just had the 4 strings. So I just started learning the bass parts. So that's how I started playing, guitar. And I had a lot of time on my hands because I was recovering. Yeah. And I just kind of fell in love with it. So when we got to Upward Bound in the summertime, my first bass was a Ward's Airline. I don't know if y'all know about Monkey Ward's or Montgomery Ward's back in the day. It's like Sears.
Yeah.
But I put it on the layaway.
yeah.
And I
Layaway, for y'all that don't know, when you couldn't afford the whole $100,
Yes.
you just pay $5 a week.
Yes, right. Until you can take it out, right? Yep. So I finally got my first bass out of layaway, and that was cool. And then I don't even know where this bass came from. It kind of fell off a truck. And it was a Fender Jazz bass. And I was able to put a couple dollars together to get it. And so I sold my little Ward's Airline bass and got my Fender Jazz bass. And I painted it red, black, and green, because that was in the Nation Time days, if y'all don't know what that is. So it's all about the unity. So I took that bass then with me to summer school at Upward Bound, which was at the University of Minnesota, and I was sitting on my bed playing, and then I'll give it off to Jimmy Jam. That's where he saw me playing the bass.
Uh-oh.
So Terry Lewis is sitting on his bed. Now, the thing that was cool about this program was it was at the University of Minnesota, and we're both junior high school students at this point. But you could check into the dorms. It was like a 6-week program. So I'm walking by the dorm, the doors open. I see Terry Lewis sitting on his bed playing this red, black, and green bass. And he's playing Kool and the Gang. And I love Kool and the Gang. And I was like, ooh, I got to get to know this brother.
Kool is my bass daddy.
Yep. I love that.
He birthed me on the bass.
Totally. So that was my thing. I saw Terry, and I was the only child. I mean, I had older half-brothers and sisters, but I was basically an only child. So when I looked at Terry, it was almost like seeing like a cool big brother or somebody that I didn't have in my life. And it was love at first sight. And then I think Terry saw me. I'll let him tell this part. Down in the lunchroom, they had stored a bunch of pianos. And I found my way to the piano. So I would go down there and play the piano a little bit. And I'll turn that over to you, yes. Terry Lewis.
In the bowels of the building
Yes.
were like 10, 15 pianos,
Yep.
all lined up against the walls. They moved all the pianos from all the other dorms in different places. Into one place so they could be safe and tuned and whatever, preserved. So Jam was down there playing, and I heard girls giggling and lovely.
So listen, we know we're going to find our way to the instrument just to impress a young lady.
Yeah, I think
that's what he says.
He's probably playing, I think, some Chicago, The Color My World.
Color My World, probably, yeah.
And I said, oh, shit, I like this dude. He got all the ladies, so I'm free for the summer, so I'm trying to find out where the ladies are going to be. So Jimmy Jam had the ladies, so
There it is.
had to know him.
Listen, and
yeah, man.
shout out to the University of Minnesota ladies that surrounded Jimmy Jam for giving us Jimmy Jam.
That's the truth.
That's
I'll
so
tell you,
awesome.
I'll just tell you real quick. And at the end of that part of the story is, so Terry was putting a band together. He said, "Let's put a band together." And I said, "Okay, cool. I'll go get my drum set." Because at the time I was a drummer. I was actually playing. I was 12 years old and turning 13, and I was playing drums for my dad, who's Cornbread Harris, who's turning
Amazing.
99 this year.
Yes, he is.
Turning 99 this year, but still plays every week. So anyway, I was drumming for my dad. Yeah, he's got a concert coming up, but he literally plays every week. He plays if you're in Minneapolis, check out Cornbread. He plays every week. Anyway, so we were going to do this gig, and I said, "I'll get my drums," and Terry said, "I already got a drummer." Well, that drummer was Jelly Bean Johnson. Ooh. Rest in peace, Jelly Bean. But Jelly Bean, when I heard Jelly Bean play, it was like, yeah, and Terry said, "You should play the keyboards. Your dad plays keyboards." I said, "Okay, cool." We went and got my dad's keyboard, and that's what changed me literally from a drummer to a keyboard player, was meeting Terry and Jelly Bean being in the band. So totally changed my life. And we played our little gig at the end of the school year, or the end of that semester, and we've been together ever since.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
And just speaking of ending up in the band, at what year was that band turned into Flight Time, but then morphed into The Time,
Yeah.
and then the relationship with the almighty God, Prince, on the music, and then just a springboard into the other artists? I know that's a three-part question, but like, you guys started the band at 12 years old. When did that morph into Flight Time, The Time, and then meeting Prince, Morris, all of those things? And then how do you feel that that springboarded you? Because I know this story just from, quick sidebar, me and Jimmy leave each other voice memos. They might be like 6 minutes long. Yeah. So when you, and I'll ask him something, I'll be like, "Man, I found this sound on the Oberheim," or he'll say, "Man, I'm working on this song, talk to Tiana and see if she could." So we have these conversations, and so I know a lot of this already, but one of the things I don't know is, as you guys were in the band of your own, how did that spring to the artist? So let's talk about the 12-year-old band, 12 years old, morphing into The Time, morphing into Prince, morphing into 11 Grammy.
Okay, so
A lot of morphing.
yeah. So from that day on, when we played that gig at the University of Minnesota,
Right.
in that little lunchroom, Flight Time continued to, because the first name for that band was the Wars of Armageddon.
Okay. It sounds like on wrestlers.
Yeah. So
The Wars of Armageddon.
yes. So that kind of wasn't sitting right. So Donald Byrd had an album out called Flight Time.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where Flight Time was derived from. But from that day, Jimmy did not stay with Flight Time. He went on to form his own groups. He played in a couple different groups, but formed especially this group, Mind and Matter,
Okay.
who was like our rival around times. We had to fight for the same gigs. Yeah. You know how that is. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and they set us up a couple times, but I'll never forgive him for that. But that's okay.
We ended up back together. It's all good.
Yeah, but in the original Flight Time, one of the greatest singers, Cynthia Johnson, who sang the song Funky Town, if you're familiar with that, was the #1 song in the world. She was a singer in Flight Time.
Wow.
Sue Ann Carwell and Alexander O'Neill were also singers in Flight Time. So we had some great vocalists that come through there, and we always had a problem keeping keyboard players. So after Jimmy was out doing his thing with Mind and Matter, and they was killing us, and we were also in competition with Prince's band,
Oh, man.
Grand Central.
Grand Central.
Yes, Prince, Andre, Simone, and Morris Day, and Andre's sister, Will Dowdy. Great musicians. Man, they played all that Sly stuff, and we had horns, so we played like everything. We played some Brecker Brothers, we played some Tower of Power, we played everything.
Everything.
Yeah, a lot of Rufus, Shaka Khan, because we had the voices.
In our group, Mind and Matter, we were like a Philadelphia group. We had 4 singers, five
soul.
singers. We doing like choreography and all that kind of stuff. So that was our thing.
Yeah, they also brought their own crowd, so.
Well, you got to win the
win the people.
You got to win the people. So let's bring our people.
Yeah, well, yeah, they just walked out on us. But anyway.
You're still bitter about that.
Yeah.
By the way, the gig, I totally know the gig he's talking about, but the funny thing is the very next gig was an outdoor gig in Northside, Minneapolis.
Right
and
in front of the window.
And they killed us. They killed us.
Oh, I went back to the drawing board. Then.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Terry going, oh man, they're kicking our ass.
That's so
I
funny.
like that Terry Lewis.
But isn't that funny, guys, how this friendly competition just makes greatness, right?
Oh.
So I like to say that to a lot of young musicians where it's like we never hating on each other, we only inspired.
Oh, yeah.
If Terry went back and didn't see Mind Over Matter, who knows what the elevation would have been for that next thing. So like we're even in here as songwriters and producers, it's like let that great song that you hear from your friend inspire you to write the next great song.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what happened with us. Because even during his time in Mind and Matter, you know, in the old days, we used to call them writing originals.
Yeah.
Yeah, writing my own originals.
Yeah.
Jimmy would always come and play on our songs.
Yep.
So we
couldn't escape them anyway.
We were still connected. And so that was just part of it, man. And our community was very small anyway.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of competition. And I love competition because it does sharpen your skills.
For sure.
And it's necessary. You know, don't think you can lay down and sometimes you can lay down and fall over the bar. But but we want to be elevated. We want to always elevate ourselves to something higher. And that's what we did. We used to push each other.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah,
So
and I will.
speaking of
And I was just gonna one quick thing about Prince. I went to junior high school with Prince, and I met him in junior high. We both had a piano class together, and so we would play piano and just they try to teach us "Mary Had a Little Lamb" or something like that, and we'd be like, okay, and then the teacher would leave and we'd just jam, right? And he was the most talented dude I had ever just heard, right? But then we put a band together after that for like a musical that the school was going to do.
Yeah.
And I remember they said, hey, Prince, what do you want to play? And he said, guitar. I was like, guitar? I thought he was a keyboard player. And then I said, Jimmy, what do you want to play? And I said, drums. And Prince looked at me like, drums?
He was a
keyboard player, right? So anyway, we put the whole thing together. We started doing it. And I remember that very first day, he comes, plugs in the amp, and he hits this Chicago solo from Make Me Smile, the song Make Me Smile. Note for note, kills it, right? Then we rehearse. I go to the bathroom. I hear somebody on the drums. I'm thinking it's the drum teacher. It's Prince on the drums. And he's trying to hand me the sticks back, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. Never say, and he was probably 13 years old at this point, 14 years old.
And you should just know, like he would come in the room and take your bass, take my bass.
Off of you.
And, and burn it up and then
hand it back to you.
Yeah.
hand it back to you. He said, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
He's talking at 13 years old. He did that to me, rest his soul, but we were at the iHeart Music Award. He took my bass off of me. Killed it. And I was just like, what do you want me to do after that?
Yes.
So it's good to know that he's been doing that for
many years.
Many years.
He was ridiculous, man. But we finally reunited. We got back together. Terry had been trying to get me in the band for the longest time, in the flight time, because I had stopped. I started DJing. Is what I started doing.
Wow.
I was DJing.
Super DJ right here.
Yeah. I started doing that in all the clubs, but that was part of our musical education, because I learned what filled a dance floor, what cleared a dance floor, and what a DJ would want in a mix. So when we would do our remixes, DJs would always say to us, I love you always give us a break, you give us 12 bars, you give us, and it'd be like, yeah, because I was a DJ. So part of our education was learning hit songs from other people.
Right.
So we learned the ingredients of what those were, but then also being in the clubs and playing those songs and seeing what worked. So we had a great musical education.
That's incredible. And speaking of that, there's so many directions moving into the 80s that you could have gone. And I can hear the influence of the bigger bands, the Tower Powers of Chicago. But then you guys developed this incredible, funky production sound. So what made you decide that, the future, because this is the 80s now that I'm thinking about. I think a lot of us here in this room know what songwriting and producing is now. I don't know, and pardon my ignorance, but like who you guys looked up to as a songwriter and producer team, because when I talk to my peers, we look up to these guys. And so, you know, what made you decide that your future was actually in songwriting and producing for other artists coming off of the band scene?
We got fired.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's easy.
That jump started it for sure.
Yeah.
That was the jump start. But Terry was the one that said when we were on the last tour with The Time in '83, which was the 1999 tour, and Terry said, "Hey, we need to go to L.A." Or no, actually, it was on the first tour we did, the Controversy tour, and Terry said we should go to L.A. I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because they need us out there." And we were like, "Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to do demos. Okay, cool. Where are we going to get the equipment? Oh, we'll figure it out. Okay, where are we going to stay? Oh, we'll figure it out." That was Terry's line for everything. We'll figure it out.
I like that, though.
But I just trusted him. I just went with him. I'm like, we'll figure it out. And we figured it out. But that was the thing. So when we met Clarence Avon, he had us do SOS Band. And we went down to Atlanta. There was a snowstorm in Atlanta. There's millions of stories about that. But anyway, we got fired. But literally the same day we got fired at Sunset Sound, we went over to Larrabee Sound and mixed Just Be Good to Me, which ended up being our first big record. So that's very much a Hollywood story, if you will. Like literally fired and an hour later mixing our first big hit. So
I was probably pissed off in that session, though. Just a little.
no,
No.
Said, nope.
No, hurt because
yeah.
you never want to be fired, of
Yes.
course, but fired from something that you helped build with your brothers.
Yeah.
You don't want to be fired from that.
Yeah.
And we felt like it was unfair, but
God had a bigger plan.
always.
Yep. Absolutely. And Terry likes to say, well, he can say it, but he doesn't say we were fired. He said we were freed.
Freed, yes.
Yeah.
We were freed. Yeah.
Look at that perspective, y'all, right? That's deep. Well, now, listen, we can apply that to so much in our lives, not just musical.
Right.
Look at each lesson as a stepping stone to the next thing.
Because it's all perspective,
Right.
It really is.
how you look at things.
I think when we started producing, though, to get back to your question, I think our thing was we felt the songs we wrote, we did a good job. We could do a good job producing, even though we were new at doing it.
Yes.
And we lucked out that the SOS Band was one of the first people. We also met a gentleman named Leon Silvers III. And Leon Silvers III was very instrumental in us learning our way around the studio, because he just let us in the studio and just said, go create. And we were like, okay. And so we ended up, yes.
It gave us a 24-hour lockout.
Yeah, 24-hour lockout. 24-hour lockout, and we'd go in there, and the engineer would be like, how long do you think you guys are going to be? And we said, we got 24-hour
24
lockout.
hours.
And they said, well, that doesn't mean you're here for 24 hours. And it's like, oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd take a nap, and Terry would work. Terry'd take a nap, and I'd work. We'd work, man. If somebody gave us 24 hours of studio time, we're taking that 24 hours,
That's
man.
amazing.
Because this is before computers, before you could do it at your house and all that. So, yeah, we appreciated that.
That's incredible. And that was 80 what for Just Be Good?
83 was Just Be Good to Me. And everything that followed since. And the other thing we did that I think was really important as far as production style-wise, and we called it, by the way, the funky bottom and the pretty top. Because when we first got together and started to work, Terry would come up with something really funky, and then I'd put this pretty thing over the top of it, and Terry would go, no, no, no. Or I'd come up with something like really pretty, and Terry would put this funk bottom. I go, no, no, no. And Just Be Good to Me was actually one of the first songs that represented how those two things work together. Because a funky beat, funky bass line, 808 drum machine, the first kind of boom.
Well, High Hopes was kind of...
Well, High Hopes
part of
definitely
that.
set the tone for
It set
that,
the
tone,
which we wrote but didn't produce. Leon Silvers produced that.
Got it.
And then that was the thing that got us going. But the breakthrough was really that song. So all of our songs, if you listen to really anything in our catalog, production-wise, you'll always hear something pretty, but you'll also hear something funky, whether it's a ballad, up-tempo, whatever that is. So that's kind of the thing. Once we figured out how to merge those things together, it kind of became the signature.
Signature sound, y'all, right? Now listen, you not to fast forward, but we're gonna do some Q&A, I think, if Nicole wants me to do that. But I do have one last question-ish. This ain't the last question, but one last question. You got into the business side. We're here at this ASCAP Experience. So you got into the business side of music really early. Why did you make that decision? How did you know that it was important to music creators? And, you know, what would we tell the creators of today how to embrace the dollars and cents aspects of what we do? And the reason why I ask that is because, yes, we want to make money, but it's incredible to understand how our perpetuity in what we do makes money. A lot of us don't understand that because we're so creative, you know, and then sometimes the business side gets a little bit swept under, but you guys have been a component of doing the right thing musically and business-wise for a very long time. So what made you know that that was important early on?
Well, I'll say two things. I think that, first of all, it is the music business, not the business music. So I think it's important to put the music first. It all comes from the creative side. There is no business without the music. So I think that's an important thing that we recognized early on. But our business side of it started like this. We're 50-50 partners in what we do. And what that allowed us to do in the creative process is not worry about who did what. But just create. There's songs out there I hear on the radio, and I go like, when did we do that, Terry? And he's, oh, I did that. I had nothing to do with the song.
Wow.
But it's 50% mine, or vice versa. So it allowed us to be, I guess, what would I say, individual in our togetherness. We each got to work with the artists that made sense to us, but then at the end of the day, it's 50%. So if I do something, it's 50% Terry's. And we thought that that was a good foundation to lay down.
Excellent foundation.
Yeah, and we talked to other writers that said, you know, hey, we want to be y'all. We want to be like you. LA and Babyface, a great example. We want to be y'all. And we asked them, like, how did you guys do the split on a certain song? And they said, oh, well, he got 70% and he got 30% and it's like, no. So we just did 50-50 across the board. And then that way, we never have to have a conversation creatively. I know if I create it by myself, it's 50% his, vice versa. But in the long run, it all evens out. And for us, it's been a long run, thankfully. But that was the thing for us as far as that.
We never had a disagreement either. So
we've never had an argument.
Yeah,
right.
disagreement,
Disagreement is different because an argument is something you're trying to win. A disagreement is something you're trying to solve.
Ooh.
So we said,
hold on. That was a gem. Say that one more time, Professor. Jam.
An argument is something you're trying to win. A disagreement is something you're trying to solve.
Ooh.
So the idea was, if we got in an argument, let's say I win the argument, why would I want my partner to ever lose in something that I'm involved with? Yes, that doesn't make sense. But a disagreement is, there's my way, there's his way, and then there's the best way. So if we agree on what the best way is,
we both win.
We both win. And I mean, so figure out what, you know, your destination that you'd like to aspire to, and then you can figure out, you know, do we take the plane, do we take a train, do we take the tunnel, do we take the freeway, do we take the boat, doesn't matter. Here's where we're trying to get to. Let's figure out the best way to get there. Simple as that.
That's incredible. Incredible. There have been so many songs from New Edition, SOS, Boyz II Men, TLC, Usher, Mariah, Sounds of Blackness, one of my faves. But this week, Janet Jackson's Control album turns 40 years old. Looking back on that album changed my life for so many reasons by listening to it, but also getting the Janet gig, I had to really dive into what is this sound? What made them play this? How is there live bass and synth bass? Sometimes there ain't no 808, but then there's a tone under there. What is that? I'm looking at the reel-to-reel. I got to go get the thing. They on the synth clavier. It's just so much going on in these stems, y'all. That 24-hour lockout that they talking about was real. I could hear it in the music. What was important about that record for y'all? A lot of people ask Janet always, and she just says, you know, going to Minneapolis, and we see some old videos of her and how her family, she wanted to show them how in control she was from Mr. Joe and Miss Catherine.
Yeah.
However, for you all, I don't think people know the importance of what that album meant to you all, songwriting, producing. With this, she was famous because she's a Jackson, but still not the artist that we know today that record put her on. What made you guys say, we're going to take Baby Girl on?
Well, we felt that's an easy question, actually. So Terry and I, whenever we would choose somebody to work with, it was always because they inspired us.
Yeah.
They inspired ideas. They were people that we felt like, oh, we know what to do here, And Janet was at the top of that list. So I will mention the name John McClain. John McClain is someone that everybody should know about because he was instrumental in our success. And we had done a few projects with John, and he said there was a female vocalist that he wanted us to work with, and she didn't want to work with us. So he said, man, I'm really embarrassed. He said, who else on the roster would you like to work with? And we said, well, send the roster. So he faxed the roster up, for those of y'all that remember fax machines. And Terry and I looked at the roster. Our fingers stopped on the same name, Janet Jackson. And we called John, and we said, hey, we want to do Janet. He said, okay, a couple songs? We said, no, we want to do the whole album. And he said, you do? We said, yeah. He said, okay, cool. So that's how that happened. Our thing with Janet was that we loved her attitude as a little kid. You'd see her on the variety shows and stuff, and she had all this attitude.
Spunk.
Yes. Yeah, she feisty. I always called it feisty attitude. But her music at that point really didn't have any of that attitude. So really, sonically, what we wanted to do was really make the most aggressive album we could possibly make. And we actually engineered that album ourselves because we had an engineer walk out on us, which is the reason those tracks sound so aggressive, because we recorded them way too loud on analog tape, quite honestly. And Steve Hodge, when he came up to mix it, he said, who recorded this? And we're patting ourselves on the back. Yeah, we did it. And he said, it's way too loud. And he said, I got to teach you guys how to record. But he took that and made that kind of the magic. And lyrically, we just hung out for 3 or 4 days before we even saw the studio, went into the studio. And she said, when are we going to get started? And we said, oh, we're started. And we showed her the opening lyrics to Control. When I was 17, I did what people told me, did what my father said, and let my mother mold me. And when she looked at those lyrics, she said, well, this is what we've been talking about. And we said, yeah. And she said, so we're going to write about whatever we talk about? And we said, yeah. And she said, oh, well, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about that. And that's how the album grew. And that's what made her a songwriter as opposed to just an artist. And she was really involved in the process. So it was really important. It was important for us. It was important for Minneapolis. It was important for the fact that we had, built our own studio at that point, which was an iffy proposition. But it really just solidified all those things. And the way we worked with her is the way we ended up working with all the artists. We would try to get their stories, try to have conversations with them, get to know them, and then write the songs from them and try to include them in the creative process. So anytime you hear a Jam and Lewis record, the artist is always involved in that creative process. It's important.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you one word that makes all of this work. Freedom.
Yeah.
Janet got her freedom. She came to Minneapolis and exercised it.
Yep.
We had our freedom because nobody was coming to Minneapolis to bother us.
That's right, yes.
There was no A&R telling us what to do or what not to do.
Right.
So we were just artists, producers, songwriters together creating and just being creative. Now, I like to claim genius on it, but you can't claim genius. You just do what you love.
Yeah.
We make records that we love and hope everybody else loves them.
Well, I have to say, masterpiece for Control. 40 years later, it's shaping Kalani. It's shaping Coco Jones. It's shaping Flo. It's shaping Brandy, Monica, all of these young women that allow that freedom that you spoke of, Terry, to infiltrate their own music, and that comes from a 40-year-old album like Control that we still love. So kudos to you all. And you guys have, because I know her as well, you've worked consistently with Janet over those
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
And so maybe not just her, but what's it like helping an artist like that evolve? So we're going to look at Control, Janet. This is my sister, so I can talk about her like this. Fully covered up. We're going to get the 90s velvet rope. We're going to get to a little Janet album, All For You. What is it like helping and seeing her and all of these artists that you've worked with? Boyz II Men is another one. Mariah is another one. Through Usher, through the years, just constantly evolve, and that is under your tutelage, to be honest.
I think the simplest way to state it, because too many words get in the way, but meeting people where they are. Understanding what they feel, being engaged in that, being present, because some of us are always on the phone and somewhere else. We had the opportunity back in our day where there was no phone. I remember the first phone came out, and it looked like a big brick. Yeah. But yeah, we were always present. Everybody was in the room together doing what they needed to do. And I think that's really, really important to engage with the artists and understand who they are, what they want, and what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So we always try to pull that out.
That's incredible. And yeah, that's worthy. Last week was the Grammys, and I was able to tribute you all at the BMAC event.
Killed it too.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was my second and probably not last time, because I just love playing their catalog. This time I tried to focus on non-Janet music, and so we did a little Mary J. Blige, we did some New Edition, we did some SOS, we did Yolanda Adams. Yep. And so one of the questions that everybody wants to know is, like, these are all hit songs. But are there songs that just didn't resonate that you thought was gonna be a hit? And how do you handle that? We're in a room full of songwriters and producers. We would love, we know the number ones that you have. Okay. But what's Jimmy's favorite song that never hit? What's Terry's favorite song that never hit? Or a song that you thought was gonna be that one? Because we all have that, right? As songwriters, I'm like, this is the beat. Everybody's gonna like this. And then it's like, it doesn't happen. And then the one you don't think is it end up being.
Yeah, we love it so much.
Yeah. So how do you handle?
Keep it to ourselves.
Yeah. How do you guys handle that? Have you had moments like that as a songwriter, producer?
Always. I mean, there's songs that I loved and nobody else liked or heard, yeah. And vice versa. Songs that I thought were just okay that became hits. But you know, I make it simple for myself. I don't try to choose that. Like I said, we create the music that we like, and we hope everybody else likes it too. Yeah. But I classify songs like this: good songs, bad songs, hit songs.
There it is.
Two of them are arguable. We can argue over good and bad.
A hit is a hit.
The hit is a hit.
Yeah.
So we don't even try to argue about that, you know. So the results, you know, are there.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I never do this to you, Unc. What is a song that you thought was just an okay song that was like, I can't stop hearing this everywhere?
There's several of them.
Several?
I can tell you the one that always pops to mind for me is Saturday Love.
Ooh, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's my joint.
Yeah, because I came up with the idea for that, and at my apartment, I had a little piano at my apartment, and I was so excited about it in my mind, and I came to the studio and I said, Terry, I got this song, man, I got this idea. And he said, what's the idea? And all of a sudden in my mind, I was like, oh, it's the days of the week. And I was embarrassed to actually sing it, and I'm kind of like going, yeah. They
was waiting for you. They said, what is it?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm kind of singing it like that. And he's like, yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I like that. And I was like, okay. So we cut it, like literally quickly, just cut it. And then Sherelle came in, did her part. Terry was writing Alex's part. And I said, okay, Sherelle's done. You ready? And he said, no. He said, I ain't got no lyrics. He said, just have Alex sing what Sherelle sang. What? He said, just have him sing the same lyrics, but just do it his own way.
Fire.
So if you think about it, when Sherelle sings, excuse my voice, when I think about you, and then Alex comes in, when I think about you, it's the same lyrics, first and second, right? And so that's one of those things that people go, oh, that was genius. And we're like,
no. Lazy.
Yeah, lazy. And anyway, so that ended up being the song. And it wasn't not even the first single. The first single was, I think, You Look Good to Me, I think was the first single from that. And the song was going up the charts, doing really well, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And we're like, what happened? And we called Clarence and we said, what's happening? And he said, everybody switched to the other song. I said, what other song? He said, Saturday Love. We said, what? So that was one we didn't hear it when we did it, but
Didn't even know.
And by the way, here's the thing. It's a team sport. We don't make hits, we make music. Y'all make it a hit by buying it, by talking about it, by nowadays, putting it on social media or whatever. Everybody makes hits, okay? So it's a team sport. So we want to thank you guys for allowing us to have hits, because you made it happen.
And we thank y'all for continuing to inspire us to write and produce these songs and allowing ASCAP to be a big part of what music creation process is. Terry, you're on the ASCAP board right now, and Jimmy, you've been on there in the past. What motivates you, not to just serve as a creator, but also a motivator and a board member to, help us get to that next level in business?
Well, I think it's very important being a person that's actually in the business and actually of the business now, like doing it.
Yeah, and you're outspoken and advocate for us creatives too, bro.
Oh, I love songwriters, producers, musicians. I would choke people for y'all. You don't even understand. But being on the board has been a great thing for me.
I agree. And I think it's important that we're involved as leaders, because we've had a chance to have a long, wonderful career that we are happy to continue with, yes, obviously. But the way I look at it is, my analogy, when we went in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, my analogy for songwriters is we're basically the farmers. So if you go to a nice restaurant and you might thank the chef, you might say, oh, that's a great meal, that's a great meal. But he doesn't have food to cook without the farmers.
That's good.
So there is no music for people to play, to stream, to go see at concerts or anything without the songwriters.
Yeah.
So that's why we're always advocating for songwriters, and we'll always advocate for songwriters.
Amazing. And we thank you for that.
Yeah, just to know we see you,
Yes.
because we are you.
Yes.
So, yes, just know that.
Amazing. One more time for Jimmy and Terry, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
I am going to, I don't know how much time I have. We're going to open the floor up.
I think we're over time.
We are going to open the floor up for some questions and a Q&A right now. They telling me 2 questions, but I can't do that to y'all. I'm sorry. I'll pay for the overtime, Nikki, okay? In the room. It's all good. Let's say your name, where you're from, and what you do, and then ask your question.
Hi, my name is Queen Elise. I am from Brooklyn, but I live out here in LA, and I am a singer and a songwriter. Thank you for being here today. One of the most important takeaways for me today has been the importance of collaboration. Can you both speak to the qualities that each of you have, both professionally and personally, that make collaborating with each other more worthwhile than just working independently?
Well, first of all, I love the art of collaboration. When we grew up where in a band had to be a band. I was the keyboard player, Terry was the bass player, we had a drummer, we had whatever. So the ideal was really a team working together. So I think the art of collaboration is really at the root of where we start. But I love it because you have those days where maybe you're not coming up with an idea, but then something that somebody says all of a sudden springs another idea. So I just think the collaboration process is beautiful if you can find that person or those people who you vibe with. I just think it's the greatest thing. Doesn't mean you can't still do things on your own, but it is good to have somebody to bounce ideas off of all the time.
And I would just say freedom to explore. I love freedom. There was a time where I felt like I didn't want to do this anymore. Felt like people that were coming to the studio were just phoning it in, and I went and sat on Jam's floor and say, yo, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, because there's many things in life that I can do and that I want to do. But along came a guy named Usher, and changed my whole perspective because he was inquisitive. He loved to try things. He would push the envelope, and that makes me inspired because in Minneapolis, we're very aggressive people, although we're very, Minnesota nice and all that. But in my community where I came from, I'm a project kid. So I'm aggressive. I need to go. I got to get it.
You play the bass like it too, Doc.
Huh?
You play that bass aggressive too.
Gotta play every, Minneapolis, that's just kind of the standard thing. So, just the freedom to explore and do what you love to do, man. I mean, how many people get to do what they love to do? And I think we need to really appreciate that as songwriters more because you have to understand, first of all, if you're not important to yourself, you'll never be important to anyone else.
Amazing. Wow. Look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take 2 more questions because they're telling me I got to go. Okay.
I got to go. I got to go.
I got to go. I got to go. Right here, this young lady right here. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so
Please stand up and tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi.
And what.
Okay, my name is Atina. I'm a singer-songwriter and currently a recording artist. And I'm from Los Angeles, right here, Los Angeles, California. And you're talking about being aggressive. So I would like to know, are you a part of the new Collaborators app so I can connect with you? So I can call you uncle? So I can call you uncle. Now, I'm just saying.
Hey,
All right, that's a good question.
I think we're open.
How do we connect
I'm
with
just
Jimmy
saying,
and Terry?
how do we connect?
Yeah. Well, I'm open to connect. I just got to find the time.
Okay.
But, there's so many. Everything you need, I tell my kids this all the time. Everything that you need to succeed is a couple arms lengths away from you. You just got to mine it. You got to turn around and introduce yourself to somebody. You can't be too cool for school. You got to engage. So all this talent in this room, there should be lots and lots and lots of hits.
Lots and lots of engagement.
So, you need you to engage with other people, right? Because if you don't engage, no one engages with you. So it's all up to you. I mean, and we don't know everything. I would like to think that, but it doesn't work that way.
We probably forgot about everything we knew.
Right? But no, all you need to succeed is sitting next to you somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I always think about when I see a room like this. Everybody is like-minded in this room. Everybody loves music. They want to do music. But people do different things. There's some people that are singers, some people that are producers, some people that are songwriters. But there also might be business people in here who are publishers, who are attorneys, who are whatever. Anyway, the ecosystem for everything is all right here in this room. So get to know the people that are around you. That's very important. The other thing is, I think sometimes there's an illusion where you're sitting there and where we're sitting here looks like the Grand Canyon. It looks like, how the heck am I ever going to be there? But if you look right over there, it's just 2 or 3 steps from where you're at to where we're at. So it's not that far away. So it's just connecting those dots to try to get here.
And I've been there too, just to piggyback off of what he said. I did a vision board when I graduated high school in 2000. And it was a producer's collage. And don't laugh at me.
No, we're just laughing at the 2000. 2000.
2000.
And in the center of that collage, I had Jermaine Dupri, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, Andre Vidal, James Poyser, Questlove, and in the center was Jimmy and Terry. And I just knew that if I dreamed big and trust God and just stayed on my path, I would meet them, let alone them be my friends and be my peers. So as Jimmy said, you are sitting next to the next Jimmy and Terry right now. Somebody to your left, somebody to your right is going to give you an opportunity to be Janet Jackson's producer, to be the next Janet, to be the next Michael, to be the next whoever you want to be, and even greater. So, those valleys look far in between, but continue to, trust yourself, as they said, and then continue just to know that the next big thing is right in front of you as long as you receive that information. I'm going to have one more question, and then we're going to say goodbye.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be the first, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's okay, too.
Okay, it's a distinctive honor to be able to speak to you gentlemen in person. I'm Bob, a singer-songwriter and the frontman of a pop rock band called Sense Around. I have such distinct memories of listening to songs like Just Be Good to Me, when I was doing homework in my parents' kitchen back in '83, so this is surreal. But the question I want to ask you, sometimes I like to zoom in, as far as the song The Pleasure Principle goes, which is my favorite cut from the Control record, do you have any distinctive anecdotes regarding either the inspiration of the song or the actual recording sessions?
I got a great one.
Do you?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, well, the pleasure principle is a song that we did not write or produce.
Right.
And that was written and produced by Monty Moyer, who was our bandmate in the time.
Yep.
And so that's so important. So giving him the opportunity was the special part of it all.
Yep.
Because we were able to give other people opportunities based on the opportunities that we were given.
Yep.
And that is the main part of this.
Yep.
And see, the fact that you like that the most, I don't have a problem with. I actually adore that because music doesn't have favorites.
What a great way to end it. Thank y'all so much, ASCAP Experience. I want to
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Jimmy Jam, Terry
you.
Lewis. My name is Adam Blackstone. We are proud ASCAP members. Make sure y'all connect with some people that are in here. You never know who you're standing right next to. And we love y'all and keep the music alive. God bless.